By the Montana Television Network. Montana This Morning continues on Montana's news leader.
Just ahead of 6:30. President Trump tells Montana residents they must back him up by electing Republicans. That was during his campaign rally in Billings last night. Coming up, some highlights from the president's speech.
Today is the final day of Supreme Court Justice nominee Brett Kavanaugh's confirmation hearings. I'm Laura Podesta with details on who's set to speak and what could happen next for Kavanaugh.
6:30 on this Friday. Missy O'Malley is off. Matt Elwell has our weekend forecast in a minute. Meantime, our top story takes us to Billings. Last night, a huge crowd welcomed the 45th president as he talked gun rights, Social Security, and borders in Billings. The underlying theme, elect Republicans to Congress, with a spotlight on Senate candidate Matt Rosendale. MTN's Jay Cohn, joined by MTN Chief Political Mike Dennison, takes a look at what the president had to say.
Well, a new day has dawned here in the Magic City. President Trump departs Billings around 9 o'clock this morning en route for North Dakota and South Dakota for more political rallies, much like we saw here on Thursday night. Chief Political Reporter Mike Dennison here. America is winning, and that was the theme here on Thursday night.
That certainly was the theme last night, but I think the theme is that the president's in campaign mode, and so are the Republicans around the country. He's going around the country talking up Republicans and saying, if we don't elect Republicans, we're going to lose all those things you talked about, the economy being in good shape, and winning on trade deals, winning on all sorts of issues. So his message last night, his message today when he goes to the Dakotas, and I think on lots of places he has lined up in the next few weeks, is that Republicans need to win to continue what we're doing, and if you vote for Democrats, we could lose it all.
Their policies are horrible. They're for open borders, meaning let all the crime come in. They're against so many things that you want. You know, I've been saying, and I've been saying it strongly, they're going to take away, they're going to hurt your Social Security so badly, and they're killing you on Medicare.
The president also said America is winning on trade.
NAFTA was such a bad deal. Some people say, oh, please, would you extend NAFTA? I said, we have to renegotiate it.
Russell Nimitz with the Montana Ag Network joining us now. Russell, no surprise there that he thinks we're winning on trade, and he had some examples.
Oh, absolutely. He's certainly making good on one of his campaign promises. First, he pulled out of the Trans-Pacific Partnership earlier this year, and then he made good on either doing away with NAFTA altogether or renegotiating it, which is ongoing right now. And just recently made the announcement that he has struck a preliminary new U.S. and Mexico trade deal, which last night he called a new and beautiful trade deal.
It'll be beautiful.
It's going to be beautiful. And, you know, it's funny how he referenced Canada because, I mean, right now Canada is part of the current NAFTA, but listening to President Trump last night, I think it's up to Canada whether they want to participate in this new U.S. and Mexico trade deal. It can either be a two-way country trade deal, or if Canada wants to participate, it could be a three-way.
A work in progress, and you'll keep us posted, I'm sure. One other surprise from Thursday night, Matt Rosendale, when he took the stage, pledged to the crowd here that if he's elected in November, he would serve a limit of 2 terms in the U.S. Senate, should he be fortunate enough to win 2 terms. Now, Montanans have heard that pledge before. Senator Conrad Burns made that same pledge, then ran for a 3rd term and was elected. So I'm not sure if that rings hollow with Montana voters. We shall see. But for now, it's all over for the shouting here at the Rimrock Auto Arena, where President Trump spoke for over an hour to a very partisan crowd. Let's go back to you in the studio.
Thanks, Jay. 6:33 now. MTN News sat down with Christie Roberts, Senator Jon Tester's campaign manager, after that rally. We asked her to weigh in on the event.
It's really about Montana. He fights to put Montana first, to make sure that when he's in Washington, D.C., he's always working in the best interest of the state. And at the end of the day, this election is a choice between Matt Rosendale and Jon Tester. Those are the 2 names that are going to appear on the ballot in November. That's the choice that Montanans are going to have when we have the election day this fall.
Again, Roberts said at the end of the day, the race is a choice between Senator Jon Tester and Matt Rosendale. Of course, we knew that as the election progresses on in here.
Sure.
More to follow on that. 6:34 now. Matt steps in to join us. Smoke, probably the big news here. The temperature's been not too bad. Wind's not too bad. It's just
been a little rough air quality wise, especially you wake up this morning, your windows are open, you could probably smell it in your bedroom or in your house. I think that's going to be our issue right now. A lot of this coming from the bacon rind fire, kind of sparking up some new some new fire growth there. Right now, we're still in the green for Bozeman. Most of western Montana seeing that air quality deteriorate. Temperatures right now into the 40s and 50s. I do expect to see a little more sun and smoke in the sky again this afternoon. Daytime highs back into the 80s. It is going to be a fairly warm afternoon, but we have some cooler air on the way. We'll talk more about the timing of all that, of course, coming up in just a few minutes.
Thank you, Matt. Now 6:35 on this Friday. Today, the final day of Supreme Court Justice nominee Brett Kavanaugh's confirmation hearings. Today, 28 expert witnesses will speak. CBS News' Laura Podesta explains.
Is almost out of the hot seat. Today wraps up 4 days of confirmation hearings. Yesterday, President Trump's pick for the Supreme Court was questioned for nearly 13 hours. Senator Kamala Harris again pressed him about whether he's spoken to any of the president's personal attorneys about the Russia investigation.
The subject of the question is you and whether you were part of a conversation regarding Special Counsel Mueller's investigation.
The answer is no.
Kavanaugh's stance on Roe versus Wade and abortion rights was also revisited. Senator Dianne Feinstein asked about a confidential email he wrote in 2003 while working in the George W. Bush White House. It said, "I am not sure that all legal scholars refer to Roe as the settled law of the land at the Supreme Court level, since court can always overrule its precedent, and 3 current justices on the court would do so."
This has been viewed as you saying that you don't think Roe is settled.
I'm always concerned with accuracy, and I thought that was not quite accurate description of all legal scholars.
At a campaign rally in Billings, Montana, the president spoke about the hearings.
And he's doing really well. But do you believe the anger and the meanness on the other side? Sick. It's sick.
Today, the Senate Judiciary Committee will hear from 28 expert witnesses. One of them is John Dean, who was President Nixon's White House counsel. Laura Podesta, CBS News, New York.
Now, Republican senators have a slim majority in the Senate. If they hold together, Kavanaugh will replace Justice Anthony Kennedy on the High Court. Back here in the Treasure State, Gallatin County Sheriff's Office asking for your help as it tries to locate a pair of people suspected in a number of theft cases. Case spanned from Bozeman to Billings. Gallatin County Sheriff's Office released surveillance photos of 2 people. There you see one of them. This was on Thursday they released it. It's believed one or both of the suspects live in Billings but may have ties to the Bozeman area. If you know the identity of either of the suspects, please contact Gallatin County Sheriff's Office. That number 406-582-2100. A reward may be available through the local Crime Stoppers program. Also, classes for Butte schools are now in session. No matter where kids are getting their education, they will see changes this year. Butte Central Elementary students are now required to wear a uniform. Over at Central High School, there are 4 new dual college credit courses. Butte School District has teachers visiting the homes of all kindergarten students, new science classes for students K through 8th, and now is offering 60 dual college credits.
We look through to see what kind of offerings that students would like, that parents would like, and we're never happy with the status quo. We try to be extremely progressive in our offerings and get our kids ready for the real world.
The Butte School District, by the way, says the changes it made resulted from a survey filled out each year by students and by parents. Treasure State headlines this morning: Great Falls woman will be able to get around town easier thanks to a donation from a Family Promise board member. Linda Williams was surprised with a car Thursday afternoon. 2004 Hyundai Sonata was a gift from an anonymous donor. Linda, a former guest of Family Promise of Great Falls. The agency dedicated to eliminating child homelessness one family at a time. Linda, who works at the Comfort Inn, says the new transportation will be a big help, especially for her 3 kids.
They go to different schools and daycare, and my oldest boy wants to join sports, so now he can, because I'll be able to take him.
By the way, this is the second car a former Family Promise guest has received this summer as part of the organization's Drive to Greatness program. Since opening its doors in 2015, Family Promise of Great Falls has helped nearly 100 families. We're going to take a quick break here on Montana This Morning. When we come back, crews battling an out-of-control wildfire in Shasta County, California. We have the latest from the Delta fire. But first, here's a look at what's coming up at 7 o'clock on CBS This Morning.
Ahead on CBS This Morning, a North Korean programmer is blamed for devastating worldwide cyber attacks. Ben Tracy is inside the Hermit Kingdom. We'll talk to a cybersecurity expert who says the North is not going to stop its global assaults. And how a son given up for adoption led his birth parents to the altar 36 years later. See you at 7.